You wake up some days and feel like you're dragging 1,000 pounds of doubt with you. Like the weight of everything you've through has cracked something deep inside. You try to move forward, but part of you whispers, maybe I'm just broken. Maybe too much has happened. Maybe you failed too many times. Maybe you're not built for the life you want. But I'm here to tell you, that voice is wrong. You're not broken. You're becoming. Everything you feel right now isn't evidence of weakness. It's a sign of transformation, because anything being forgotten doesn't look pretty in the middle. The caterpillar looks nothing like the butterfly. The rough stone looks nothing like the polished diamond. The process doesn't look like the promise until it's complete. But you've got to keep walking through the fire long enough to see what it's making of you. Most people confuse discomfort with dysfunction. They believe that just because something hurts, it must be wrong. But what if pain is part of the path? What if the mess you're standing in is destruction? It's construction. You've been lied to by a world that told you strength means never struggling, that confidence means never doubting, that clarity means never questioning. But the truth is, every warrior you admire has battled with shadows inside themselves. Every legend has bled in silence before they ever roared in public. The low days don't mean you're forming. They mean you're forming. Every crack you think is making you weaker may actually be letting light in, the light of awareness. Awareness hence. The light of a deeper strength you never knew you had until life demanded it from you. The truth is, most people don't rise because they wait to feel worthy first. They wait to be perfect. They wait to have it all together. But self-belief doesn't wait on perfection. It's born when you dare to rise anyway. In the chaos, in the mess, in the confusion. Belief is a decision, not a conclusion. You don't need to be healed to start. You don't need every answer to take action. You just need one moment of truth. A single breath where you decide, I don't care what's happened before. I don't care what I feel right now. I'm still getting up. That's where it starts. In the moment you refuse to listen to the voice that says, you're not enough. And instead, you whisper back, watch me. Think about it. If you weren't meant to rise, why do you still feel the hunger to grow? Why does a part of you still is possible? That hunger is not a mistake. It's a signal. It's the part of you that hasn't given up, and that part, that's the real you, not the voice that doubts, not the fear, not the fatigue. The part that keeps hoping, keeps pushing, keeps showing up. That's your identity. That's who you really are. And the more you trust that part, the louder it becomes. This journey isn't about pretending you don't hurt. It's about knowing that pain has purpose. That pressure produces power. That every storm you've survived didn't come to break you. It came to reveal you. And the longer you walk through it with your head held high, the more you'll start to recognize that you were never falling apart. You were being broken open, cracked wide, so your real power would rise through the pieces. There is nothing wrong with you. There never was. There is only the gap between who've been told you are and who you're meant to become. And every single step you take from this moment forward is shrinking that gap. So don't run from the hard days. Don't resist the stretch. Let life shape you. Let the struggle train you. Let the fire teach you. Because when it's over, you won't be broken. You'll be bulletproof. So the next time that voice creeps in telling you're not good enough, that it's too late, that you're too far gone, remember this. You're not at the end. You're the edge of something. And it's not a fall, it's a rise. You're not broken. You're becoming. That voice in your head, the one that whispers you're not enough, that scoffs when you try, that lists every failure before you even take a step. That voice is not your truth. But if you don't interrupt it, It will write your story for you. And that is the danger most people never see coming. The inner critic, if left unchecked, becomes the author of your future. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And those whispers can guide your choices, shape your confidence, and lock you in a life far smaller than the one you were made for. Here's what most people don't realize, and that inner critic doesn't come from the future. It's built from the past. From every moment you felt rejected, ignored, embarrassed, or unseen. It's stitched together from every voice that ever made you feel small. But just because those echoes live in your mind doesn't mean they belong in your present. The truth is, you've outgrown the version of you that those voices were talking to. But the voice remains because you've let it. Because, for too long, you've mistaken its familiarity for truth. Just because something sounds like your voice doesn't mean it's your wisdom. If you want to rise, if you want to take control of our life and move in power, then you have to deciding who's telling this story. Because every day you wake up, you're writing chapters. In your habits, in your beliefs. And if you don't silence the inner critic, it will hold the pen. And it's got one goal: to keep you from growing. Not because it hates you, but because it's afraid. The inner critic is survival instinct wrapped in insecurity. It doesn't want you to take risks, to speak boldly, to chase your dreams, because that's unfamiliar. And to it, unfamiliar means unsafe. But that kind of safety is a prison. It keeps you small. It makes sure you only play within the boundaries of what's already been done. It makes you filter yourself before you've even tried. You start saying no to opportunities you haven't even seen yet. You start shrinking in rooms you were born to command. You start living a story where you're always doubting, always hesitating, always apologizing for your ambition. That ends the moment you take back the pen. And I'm not talking about some dramatic confrontation with yourself. I'm talking about a quiet, daily discipline. Every time you hear that voice say, "You can't," you meet it with, "Why not me?" Every time it says, "You're not ready," you answer with action. Every time it mocks your vision, you move anyway, because movement silences doubt, action breaks fear. And every small step you take in defiance of that critic is a messaging, "I'm the one writing this." You don't argue with the inner critic. You outpace it. You starve it of your attention. You stop feeding it with self-pity and start feeding your fire instead. Let your actions speak louder than your anxiety. Let your consistency drown out the chaos. Because the truth is that voice only has power when you stop moving. It only grows when you stand still. So move, even when you're unsure, especially when you're afraid. That's when the voice gets quiet. That's when it loses its grip. You were never meant to live life under a ceiling built by fear. You were meant to break through it, but breakthrough doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. By choosing to show up even when your thoughts try to hold you back. By choosing to believe that your story doesn't end in limitation. It begins in defiance. This is the fight that matters. Not with other people, not with your circumstances, but with the voice inside that says stay small. That voice is not the enemy, it's the test. And every time you overcome it, you rise. You get louder. You get clearer. You start living with a power that doesn't come from the absence of doubt, but from the refusal to be ruled by it. You are the author. You are the voice that matters. And the moment you choose to write your life from truth, from strength, from intention, that's the moment everything changes. Silence the critic. Take the pen. Tell the story only you can live. Everyone wants a guarantee to begin, a sign, a certificate of certainty, something to tell them, yes, this will work. Yes, you are ready. Yes, you will win. But that's nothing works. That's not how transformation happens. Proof doesn't come before the leap. It comes because of it. And that's the reason most people stay stuck. They're waiting for permission from life to go after what they already feel burning inside them. Waiting for results before they've put in the action. Waiting for clarity before they've moved into the unknown. But it doesn't work that way. You don't get proof and then leap. You leap and then the proof shows up. Look back at every breakthrough moment in your life. Every decision that shaped you. Every turning point. You didn't have all the answers. You didn't know it would work. You had doubt in your bones, fear in your chest, but something in you said, go. And when you wept, when you moved despite the uncertainty, that's when everything started to open. That's when your strength met you. That's when the support showed up. That's when life responded. But if you're still trying to calculate every outcome, still trying to map every step, still looking for proof you hanked before you've even started, then you're living like someone who's waiting to be convinced, not someone who's already decided. And there's a massive difference between those two. Because people who are waiting to be convinced, they hesitate, they self-sabotage, they overthink. But people who've already decided, they move, they act, they create momentum so strong that proof becomes irrelevant. See, self-belief isn't built in the comfort of knowing. It's built in the courage of going. It's built when you show up even though your hands are shaking. It's built when you speak, even when your voice wavers. It's built when you risk being seen, being judged, being wrong, and do it anyway. That's when confidence is forged. Not from knowing everything will work out, but from knowing you'll handle it whether it does or not you. And let me be clearing, you don't have to feel fearless to leap. You just have to be ready enough. You don't need the entire staircase lit. You just need to take the next step, and the step after that. Each step becomes its own proof. Each act of courage becomes a receipt that you are capable, that you are evolving, that you are no longer living by the lies of limitation. Too many people are standing on the edge of change with brilliance inside them, waiting until they feel good enough, waiting until someone claps for them, waiting until they see someone else go first. But life doesn't reward hesitation. Life rewards commitment. And commitment means leaping before you see the net. The truth is, the net shows up in motion. It shows up after the decision, after the risk, after the rejection you feared but took anyway. You find your wings after the jump, not before. That's where the transformation is. In the freefall, in the moment you have nothing but your will and your fire to carry you. That's where your real power surfaces. Because nothing reveals what you're made of like the moment you bet on yourself. Stop waiting to feel worthy. Stop waiting for someone to tell you it's your time. Stop asking the world for permission to rise. The proof you're seeking is already inside you, but it only activates when you move. And it doesn't matter if you stumble. It doesn't matter if it's messy. What matters is that you move. If you keep waiting for certainty, you'll die with potential still in you. But if you leap now, if you move in the presence of fear, not the absence of it, then you'll learn something that can't be taught. You'll learn that strength follows action. That clarity comes in the doing. That proof is born in the process. So take the leap. Trust the unknown. Give life a reason to respond to you, because it will. But only after you go first. Now move. We've all made mistakes. We've all carried versions of ourselves we're not proud of. And too often, we let that past become a prison. We replay it like a broken record. Every failure, every regret, every missed shot. And somewhere along the line, we start believing that who we were is all we'll ever be. But that's the lie. The truth is far more powerful. Who you were does not limit who you can become. You are not your history. You are not your lowest moment. You are not the voice in your head that says, you always mess this up. That's just a memory trying to dictate your future. But memory is not destiny. And if you don't challenge that voice, it becomes the narrator of a story you no longer want to live in. The only way you grow is by breaking the script. You don't have to keep repeating what was. You don't have to carry your past like it owns you. Whatever you've been through, your pain, your patterns, your moments of weakness, they have shaped you, but they don't define you. They're chapters, not the whole book. The pen is still in your hand. The most dangerous thing we do is infuse familiarity with truth. Just because you've been insecure doesn't mean you are. Just because you've failed before doesn't mean you're a failure. You are not stuck unless you decide to be. Your past is not a prophecy. It's just a place you've been. And if you let it, that place can be a launching pad, not a cage. Let's be real. Reinvention isn't easy. Growth is uncomfortable, especially when the world wants to keep you labeled as the person you used to be. People remember the old you. They expect that version to show up. They might even try to remind you of it when you start changing. But that's not your burden to carry. Their version of you is not your responsibility. The only thing that matters is the version you choose to build moment by moment. You don't owe anyone consistency with your past. You owe yourself alignment with your future. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is say, "That's not me anymore." Not because you're denying who you were, but because you're declaring who you're becoming. That declaration is how transforming begins. Not in perfection, not in pretending the past didn't happen, but in owning it and moving anyway. And let's talk about shame. That quiet voice that tries to haunt your steps. Shame is the enemy of growth. It's the weight that keeps you anchored when you're trying to rise. But the truth is, shame dies in movement. Every time you act in alignment with your highest self, every time you make a better choice, every time you take a breath and choose strength over story, you weaken shame's grip. And eventually it has no power left. You've already survived what you thought would break you. You've already overcome more than you give yourself credit for. So why would you let an older version of you hold back the one that's ready to break through? You are not bound by old habits. You're not married to old mistakes. You don't owe your past a lifetime subscription to your future. And the sooner you realize that, the faster you rise. Because here's the truth, the greatest transformations happen in the shadows. When no one's watching. When you're choosing differently, when your body wants to go back to what's familiar. When you're rewriting the story in silence. That's where self-belief is born. Not in front of applause. Not when it's easy, but when it's real. You get to choose who you become. And that choice doesn't require permission. Not from your past. Not from people. Not even from the voice in your head that's grown comfortable in limitation. Burn the script. Reclaim your power. Step into the version of you that's been waiting for a chance to lead. Your past was just the setup. Now write the rest of the story. It's easy to believe that identity is something we're born with. Like a name we never chose or a role we were handed. But identity isn't fixed. It isn't written in stone. It's built every day, quietly, constantly through what you dog, not what you say you'll do, not what you intend to do, what you actually do. Repetition do us identity. What you do is who you become. If you keep showing up as someone who shrinks back, doubts, procrastinates, breaks promises to themselves, then that's what you're teaching your brain to believe you are. It doesn't judge you. It just records data. Every action you take reinforces a pattern, and that pattern becomes the framework of how you see yourself. But here's the most empowering truth. That process works in you both directions. The same way negative repetition shapes weakness, a positive repetition shapes power. Every time you show up, every time you follow through, every time you do the thing you didn't feel like doing, especially when you didn't feel like doing it, you're not just checking a box, You're casting a vote for the person you want to be. And those votes, they add up. They stack. They form a foundation that nothing external can shake, because it wasn't given to you by the world. It was earned by your consistency. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need to wait until the fear goes away. You just need to move, and move again, and move again. Repetition doesn't require talent. It doesn't care about how gifted you are or where you came from. It only asks one question: will you return? Will you return to the grind when it's boring? Will you return to the goal when it's hard? Will you return to your standard when no one's watching? Because that return, that stubborn repetition, is where greatness is born. You're not sculpted by a single powerful moment. You're forged by the rhythm of discipline. And let me be clear, repetition is not about perfection. You will fail. You will fall short. That doesn't break the cycle. It reinforces it if you rise anyway. If you recommit. If you step back into alignment with who you said you wanted to be. And some days your reps might look small. They might feel invisible. A single breath. A quiet no to an old habit. A slow step forward when you wanted to run back to safety. But those reps matter. They all matter. Because repetition isn't about what's visible. It's about what's a building. Every brick of action you lay, every rep of courage, every choice to lead yourself is constructing a structure you'll eventually live in. The question is, will that structure reflect your potential or your excuses? You want to change your identity? Stop thinking about it and start doing it. Show up like the version of you who doesn't need motivation to act. The one who trains even when no one's clapping. The one who's decided that Motivational, it's required. Don't wait to feel confident. Repetition creates confidence. Don't wait to believe in yourself. Belief is a result of consistency, not the prerequisite for it. You say you want to be disciplined. Act disciplined. You say you want to be strong. Do what strong people do. You say you want peace. Practice peace in the moments when chaos shows up. Stop hoping you'll magically become the person you admire. Start embodying their actions one by one until they're no longer their actions. They're all yours, because over time, what once felt like effort becomes your nature. What once felt like a stretch becomes your baseline. And that's when you know you're becoming. Not because you announced it to the world, but because your behavior confirmed it. Identity isn't a title you declare. It's a pattern you repeat. So repeat it. Repeat it again. Build it brick by brick, rep by rep. Let your actions speak louder than the doubts. Let your daily choices speak louder than your past. Because repetition isn't just what you do. It's how you rise.